Load. Friday night. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the after show on Narativ Live. The gang's all here. Everyone's back together. I haven't seen this group of people in the same screen for a few weeks. So, hello. Firstly, Eric Garland, welcome back with dancing. And
hello.
Nice to see you. LB's here and Greg's here. Greg Oliar and Lincoln's Bible. If you're following on Twitter.
I'm staring at the. Are we on? Because I can't. Its broadcast is not available on my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, that was.
I just want to make sure that we're okay. As happy as I am to see.
I turned us on. I turned us on.
It's going in and out.
Let's see.
Sorry, everybody.
I'm having fun. I don't care about anyone else. I'm having fun.
Right? No, it's nice to have an occasional viewer. You see us?
I see us on Periscope.
So you should be able to see us on Twitter, no?
I don't know.
Well,
it just says broadcast is not available for me.
Well, here I am broadcasting, as it turns out, on this machine that tells me that I'm doing it.
I'm seeing it.
All right, then as long as
there's
it's
175
live,
people.
Hi,
great.
it's Friday.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it.
It'll show up.
Somebody else.
People are saying it's on. They're saying it's on.
Okay, it's on.
Okay, good. Thank
and
you.
we're also watching the comments tonight, which is great.
So if somebody dies, you guys can be on call. Great. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no one will die during our show this week. The show has got a theme. It's all about that. I've got that tucking feeling. The Titanic is there because Greg's fantastic piece today in Prevail was about this meme that's been going around, which I don't have here to show you, but the meme basically said, it starts like this and it ends like that, but it refers to the Titanic movie. I didn't do a very good job describing it there, but I love that piece, Greg. That was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a fun one. How it started, how it's going.
That's right. Thank you.
Which, by the way, my 15-year-old son had not heard of, so I felt like either it's only on Twitter or it's just so not cool that the kids don't know about it. I don't know.
It's probably that.
It's not for the Snapchat generation, probably.
It's probably just the old. We're just old.
We are. We all Generation Xers, by the way. I think.
Can we let's just show the breakdancing Gen X dad for this entire show? Can we just do that?
You going to be breakdancing for us?
Yes.
So we got a bunch of tucks to go through today in today's show. That's we will get to Borat, and we will get to the scene with Rudy. That'll be in Tucking Rudy, but it's later in the show. So stick around for that because it's worth it. Even if it's 90 seconds of what appears to be gold. But we begin this week with tucking debt.
Yeah.
The president is in debt to many, many countries, it turns out. According to Forbes magazine, by the way, it's not even not 400 something million dollars. It's $1 billion. They just added it all up together, and it turns out that Trump is actually in debt to $1 billion to various institutions. They named 6 of them around the world. But that's a lot of money to be owing foreign debtors. It's not a good look.
It would
Barack
show
Obama
up on your
that.
SF-86.
It would show up. I think the greatest thing that we were all waiting for, like I've been waiting for 4 years for Obama to come out and say what we've all saying. Can you imagine if Barack Obama, how they would react if he said, let's grab him by the pussy, or he's all these things that we have tolerated from this monstrosity. And finally, we got to hear this week, Barack Obama do it. He did it. He's like, can you imagine what would happen with them if I had a secret Chinese bank account? Like what they would be saying about me? Can you even imagine that? And so I think that was like, yes, now Barry, yes, you're the right guy. Keep doing it. Keep saying it. That's it. The people who are the real victims of that hypocrisy are the ones that need to come out and just call them on it instead of all of us.
Well, we're all victims, aren't we? Because we're all like taxpayers. Yeah. And, as it turns out, he's been stealing money from the tax man by paying whatever it is that he's been paying and lying on his tax returns. So we're all kind of victims. So we all have some reason to be calling him out.
Right. That's right. This
According to-
man is
But it's
a
better
thief
when-
and a launderer. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
It's
How much money do you
insane
think
how
they've
much-
actually gotten away with as they've been pillaging our treasury? I'm always the day I'm looking
Oh,
forward to, or not looking forward to, is when Mnuchin finally is revealed as having squirreled away all our gold or whatever it is that he might be doing in the treasury, because that man is no good.
Well, he was at Fort Knox.
Right? Remember, you went to see it. You
I wasn't there to look at the eclipse. Look, it's an eclipse. I'm going to be in here.
Oh,
Pretty good
Yeah.
distraction.
Yeah, it is a pretty good distraction.
Yeah.
So the president also has this $5.4 million that he gets in for releasing. Not only does he get the $15 million that he withdrew 2 years ago from the Chinese bank account, the secret Chinese bank account that he also has this $5.4 million that he takes in by leasing the Chinese bank a floor of his tower. So
That's
that was just released today, which I thought
that's
was
been
maybe it's
yeah, that's been known, but it's like all of a sudden there's this great awakening of maybe maybe foreign powers own this guy. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Has anyone said
For
that
all
before?
Of us, I mean, it is part of this chasm, right? This great divide of knowledge and how shit works, just the basics of how shit works. This is how money laundering works, everybody. This is what it means when the intelligence officials are saying, our guys are going, and women are saying, he's compromised by foreign nations because he takes their money. He owes them money. They're using him to launder money. Even he can say, I don't have any deals in Russia, but it's like, do you launder money for oligarchs? That's a very different question. Let's see what happens with that question. No one can fit it together in their fucking brains after 5 years to ask him that straight question. Just going to let him weaponize and say, I don't have any deals in Russia. Well, yeah, you know why? Because they don't fucking need you over there to build a fucking tower over there. They don't need you to launder their money in fucking Russia. They need you in other places, right? Because they're trying to get the money out of there, right? Why would they give you a cut to build something, to be the front face, the front man for them laundering their own money in their own land?
So true.
And then give you money for it? Why would they fucking do that? They need you in Panama. Go put your shit down there. Go up into Vancouver. Put your shit there. That's where they need him. That's where they need his name. Right? They don't need it in Moscow.
Russia
don't
flew
need it in
here
Moscow.
and bought his house.
Yeah.
Say that
Russia
again?
flew here and did the deal. Russia bought his house. Rybovlev.
Yeah,
who's-
yeah,
I
yeah.
can never spell his goddamn name, but
Rybovlev,
the world's shittiest house guest. Fly.
The world's
I don't have any
shittiest
deals in Russia. Oh, because he goes to Monaco, he buys half of Monaco and fucks that place up. Then he flies to Florida. He ruins your democracy. He's the shittiest house guest ever. But he paid $90 million for Donald Trump's $45 million house that he never lived in or touched. And Trump's on the record somewhere saying, yeah, I thought it was Vladimir Putin who was really buying it from me. So, and then he says, well, I don't have any deals in Russia. Well, did Russia come here and give you $45 million for nothing? That's kind of a deal. I would take that. If anyone would like to make a not deal with me and just hand me $45 million,
hey, don't raise your arm up too high. They might just do it because they need new people. Eric Trump said that they were getting the majority of their money from Russia in an interview way back when. So
I said it.
I'll
What
take
was
his
the
word for
exact
it.
quote?
I listened to it. I
Yeah.
listened
The exact
to
quote
them
was-
say it.
The money's flowing in from Russia, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't
something like
mean
that.
that it's he's parsed it sort of carefully. Anyway, sorry.
He's turned it into this phrase that everyone just goes, "Oh, oh, oh." So again, the chasm, right, of knowledge for, and the fact that that journalists can't get this and can't, that they're still being led around by the semantics, right? They're still like, the semantics got a hold of me, right? I gotta say what he says the way he says it, and then check that. And I don't know, I'm lost now. Let's talk about 220,000 dead people. No, we're not supposed to talk about that. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about, Rudy Giuliani playing with his balls. I mean, it's just out of control, everybody.
It is out of control.
It's out of control. But money laundering is not that complex. It's not that hard to understand. It's not that difficult to see. And if you take money from, if foreign powers are lending you money, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to the tune that it adds up to $1 billion very, very quickly, you're not worth $1 billion. You owe $1 billion, and you owe $1 billion to these countries and these individuals who have a stake in how we run our foreign policy, so that they can get off with their crime and their thieving and all the shit that they want to do, and continue to rape us blind. And this guy's standing there going, I don't know.
He's not broke. In fairness, we should say he's not broke. He is worth about 2 point something billion dollars, and he might have $1 billion of debt.
No,
well,
he's not with
that is what these Forbes are saying.
No. I had a very good authority. He had a couple $100 million when he was running for president, but that had nothing to do with what he owed. So if you put that against what he owed, these bills are coming due. This Deutsche Bank, in and of itself, is coming due.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, 800 million.
There's a lot coming due in the next year or two. Yeah,
coming due. So whatever amount he had liquid, it doesn't matter. This shit's coming due. Now, however long he's been in the presidency, we don't know what's been happening. People want to focus on, okay, has he been robbing from us? Has he been taking from the Treasury? What has Steve Mnuchin been open? But I think it's like, this guy, they just found a bank account in China. We know that he has thousands and thousands of offshore accounts. He does. We know this, right? We don't know whether he's been continuing to take money from foreign powers or individuals, right, while being president. Eric, you found some, you were reporting on some of that. Reporting was coming out that he was on the payroll
of Egypt. You mentioned this was in your podcast, which everyone has to check out.
Yes.
Tell everyone about your podcast quickly, Eric, because it's available now and it's must listen. It's a must listen podcast.
Thank you. Game Theory Today podcast. It's on all the different your Apple and your Spotify and all that. But one of the bigger episodes that just dropped was, I didn't write it. It just happens to be true. It's just crazy that he took 10 million apparently from al-Sisi, the dictator, the military dictator of Egypt, in September 2016, while Steve Mnuchin was sitting there, and everyone was involved in this, and Jeff Sessions knew about it, and Mike Flynn knew about it, and Sisi came to Washington, and Mike Flynn and Jeff Sessions sat down with the guy in September of 2016, and they're all the timelines there. It's like 2016. So he's running. He was running. Yeah.
They needed the money to funnel into the coffers to.
Yeah, that's what
broke.
It sounds like.
The campaign was broke.
Didn't he say it was his money? Because I remember he injected $10 million into his campaign towards the end of it, and he said, where did he get $10 million?
It came from the military fucking dictatorship of Egypt. Yes,
it's a lot of piastres, dirty piastres.
Wow, you're not allowed to do that. That's against the law.
If you remember, when they go the first trip, where was the first trip? It was to Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yeah.
The largest arms deal in history, like $380 billion, where we're going to send them cybersecurity stuff and anti-aircraft stuff. And they're sitting there fondling the globe. They've got, remember the big stupid glowing globe, and it's
the orb.
The King Salman.
The orb. Yeah, who's completely
King Salman of Saudi Arabia, and it was al-Sisi of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump, and they're all fondling the globe with America sticking out, and they're fondling America. I mean, it's just.
And Melania was in there going.
Yeah, Melania was in there because you needed a Russian representative.
What am I?
I mean, it's sort of the alliance, right? I mean, it's all you're missing is Netanyahu and MBZ, and we would have had the whole house there. It is interesting that money came from Egypt. I mean, I can't believe the audaciousness of that. That is insane that he would take a $10 million check from al-Sisi for just during the campaign, in the last 6 weeks of the campaign. It's insane. There is this $200 million loan, which he owes the Bank of China $200 million. Bank of China says they've sold off this loan, and I guess we'll take their word for it. But I'd rather not.
They would never lie.
take their word for it. Yes, they would never lie. So I'm going to say we're not sure whether he does owe this $200 million, but there's a $200 million. That's a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money for anyone, but it's really a lot of money for him as well. I mean, even if you're a billionaire, $200 million is a lot to pay back. And this is in conjunction with his good friend, what's his name? Stephen Ross, is that his name? Who does Vornado in New York, the big construction company. So,
owner of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I think so. And he's good. And also, so not surprisingly, to me at least, a business partner of Jared Kushner, because they all roll together. They all roll together. So $200 million to the Chinese, plus $5 million we just discovered, and maybe more. And then the secret bank account, that's another $15 million. That's $220 million that he might owe to his friend Xi. No wonder his daughter is so fond of the Chinese and the Chinese trademarks, and his granddaughter sings songs in Cantonese to Xi. Yeah, of course. She's going to sing for his supper.
I thought he was a racist he was super tough on China. Was that not true?
No one's been tougher on China. Nobody.
Also Russia. No one's less of a racist.
Yeah.
That moment
Although
was
it's really dark in here, I can't see the woman sitting right in front of me. I can't tell.
Is anyone black here?
Oh my God! What a moment!
What a moment that was. There's a whole list of his creditors, by the way. There's tons of money that he owes. I mean, I think the problem with this thing is that he owes so much money that people can't even imagine what it's like. I mean, once you get past a certain figure, most of us are like glaze over because you can't imagine what it must be like to own $1 million or $2 million. So, for most people, this stuff just gets like murky. It just looks like a bunch of zeros on a sheet, and for him, it's a lot of money still that he owes. By the way, each one of these lines I can't read the details there, but it's a phenomenal amount of money when you add it all up together, $1 billion in all.
It's really, if you're...
go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, if you've been in debt in any substantial way, and you're a person of character, it messes with your head. I mean, it makes you feel bad and guilty and all these kind of things. That's what it does. Yeah. And he's a fucking psychopath, so it doesn't have that effect on him. Manafort is the same way. Man, all this debt all over the place. Roy Cohn was that way too.
Yes,
I'm not going to pay this. I'm not going to pay that. Just doesn't care. Doesn't care about the debt. They don't care. They don't believe that it.
Play a card, right? They've been able to play a card always to get out of it. He did have debt at one point in time, and Ivanka tells her made-up story about that. How he walked past some guy, said a homeless man said he has more money than I do because I'm in such debt. She tells this story, but then it turns out, I don't know, somebody else told that story from some other family. It's just like a story they're all telling. But there was a point, Wayne Barrett in the day, Greg, he reported on when these debts were so pressing in on Donald, he did have it was a single source, so he didn't put it in Village Voice, but he talked about it, that, Donald OD'd and he's like from stress and went to the hospital. He had this late night hospital run. And it was right at that time where all those bankruptcies were crashing in on him.
Interesting.
I think he's gotten past that because he doesn't seem to give a shit. I mean, I just whatever tendril that was having connecting that part of his brain to the rest of it, the cocaine or Adderall or the drugs from the COVID that he was on have completely torn it, and it's floating out there like a goddamn Mars probe that the GOP is sending to the moon. I guess we're gonna have a place on the moon now.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's really talking about
there are people who believe that the more debt you die with, the better off you are. That you should go to your death owing a lot a lot of money.
Yeah, and those people are sociopaths. I don't know. I just want to stand on the record. They're sociopaths. Sorry, they just are.
Well, there's a difference of owing a lot of money and making sure you're not living in such a way towards the end where you think, okay, I can somehow take this with me. So, there's giving and then there's owing.
And there's also criming, which is a whole other thing.
And there's criming, right.
There's criming.
And there's criming to give. Criming with your giving, right, which Trump has mastered as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a fracture here in how average people understand these money structures. That we look at debt as consumers when we are from a certain area of society, known as like people who have to work, like, which is most everybody, right? And you don't realize these structures of owing money, that is how they make money. They, when you get into like private equity stuff, Bain Capital, Apollo Management, Eris Management, those guys, they come in and the first thing they do is jam whatever company that they grabbed a hold of with their pirate ships. They jam them full of debt. And even though they can get money for 0.1%, they set their own interest rates for the money that they get them, this company indebted to, at like 14%, 11%, even though that's not how much the company's worth or whatever. That flow of money being owed, now they owe it back to themselves, and then when they sell it back off to the dumb money, when they go public, they will get paid based on that debt, and then that debt can be securitized through other products, and derivatives are still out there, right?
Savings and loan scam. Sounds like you're.
Can I want to jump in on that topic. I started reading. Jennifer Taub has a book out now called Dirty Money, which is about white collar crime. And I haven't had as much time to read as I would like, but I'm about 3 chapters in. It's a magnificent book, and what it is, it's basically tells you the whole story about the history of white collar crime, why that phrase is even a thing, and kind of goes through what it is, what the problems are. But it's not inside baseball. It's almost like a great introduction to it, and I really recommend it for anybody that. People start talking. As soon as you say the words private equity, my eyelids go back into my head, and I'm gone. It's like I'm back in school, and no, not you, anybody. I should know what it is, but I'm just, I can't. My brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they've made sure that this stuff that all sounds, they add all these little names and jargon for all this.
Tranche,
they're fucking thieves. They're
It's
just
all
pirates, scumbags, and
yeah.
Anyway,
if you
get that book. The book is really
crime
good.
Instead of white collar crime, all of a sudden it clicks for people. What's going on? White collar crime makes it,
sounds like it doesn't hurt anybody. The thing
It
about
doesn't.
white collar
Yeah.
crime sounds like it's got no victims, and yet there are victims. We're all victims of this stuff. It's like it's endlessly sucking money out of our world, and it also limits people who are not committing crimes' ability to make money because there's only so much to go around. If the only way you can become successful is to be as dirty as Donald Trump, there's no incentive for the rest of us to be good. At the end of the day,
One of the interesting things in the book that I've read so far, and again, this is the Dirty Money book by Jennifer Taub, who we all probably follow on Twitter, is that crime is not something that's born out of necessarily poverty as much as it's been said to be, but crime is something that's learned. It's a learned behavior. Mm-hmm. And these corporate renegades, these swashbuckling fuckheads, the fucketeers, LB, they learned this. They go into these lines of work, they see how it's done, and they run around like, Bobby Axelrod or whoever. And whatever the law is, they toe it or they go over it and they brag about it. And the laws are so arcane. And like, the drug cartels bringing drugs into the country, they have so much money that if stuff gets seized, they don't even care. They just write it off as a cost of doing business. These people, these little laws, they're not going to go to prison. They're going to pay a fine, maybe. That's it. And they're going to hire lawyers, and they're going to, rely on the lawyers. This is a great line in the book. It's not her idea, but she mentions that regular street crime, the drug deals on the corner and stuff like that, the people that mastermind those crimes are basically professional criminals that do the crimes. But the people that mastermind the white collar crimes are lawyers. Mm-hmm. That's it. Just think about that for a minute.
Which is interesting because then all the laws that lawyers follow often, politicians pass those laws. And so the laws that they create often allow for those loopholes which allow for crime, and I don't know if you guys follow that guy from Jersey who's been revealing.
Stuart, yeah.
Yeah, Stuart has been revealing all these secrets about Jersey, which is the British colony, I guess. What would you call it? Protectorate.
Not New Jersey. Actual
Not New
Jersey.
Yeah.
The island of the Channel Island of Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey
Yes.
Isles, and it's offshore. Really is what it sounds like. Everybody, it means it's an island or something off ashore, right? And so that's just been, oh boy.
The thing which opened my eye about that is when I was talking to him, he was explaining to me that the Queen and the royal family actually have complete control over the Isle of Jersey. Even though it belongs to Britain, it doesn't have to follow the rules and regulations of the British Parliament.
Yeah.
So if the Queen wanted to run a certain way or wants certain things to happen.
Crown colony.
It's a crown colony, yes. So the crown, whether it's the Queen herself or whether it's the the institution of the crown, they get to do a lot of things on that island that would normally not be allowed. So Deutsche Bank has a big branch out of that particular island for that particular reason, and there are a lot of organized criminals there for that reason, because you can get away with stuff over there, and the crown just doesn't care or looks the other way, because they obviously profit from it along the way too. And so we follow a lot of our laws here are based in British laws. Our system ultimately came from the UK. So it's not that far off that we've adopted an institution that allows for this kind of activity to take place.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting year for the crown colonies, though, because it's TikTok. They have to reveal, I believe, by the end of calendar 2020, they have to reveal, or is it the end of October of this year? It's in a period of days. The crown colonies have to reveal the beneficial owners of all of those accounts.
Offshore holdings.
So that's
going to
get
interesting. So upset with you there. It's actually the British Virgin Islands did the other day say they were starting the process. They were going to finally reveal who owns all these offshore holdings. They didn't reveal them. They said they were going to, and this is the process they were going to follow. But the British Virgin Isles has a lot of interesting accounts, and lots of people invest their money.
They're all owned by Ken Bone.
It's going to be a shit show.
It really
what
is.
What did you say, Greg? What did Greg say? They're all owned by what?
They're all owned by Ken Bone. That's the punchline.
Who's Ken Bone?
Oh, who's Ken Bone? He was the undecided voter from 4 years ago with his red sweater on that everyone was so gaga about. Until they did like 10 minutes of research about him.
Okay.
Yeah. He's basically a nobody who became, thrust into a position where people were paying attention to him, which is actually probably who will wind up owning these companies. Like, probably. Like, what, me? I'm a housekeeper. I don't know.
Well, I was doing a little research on Robert Maxwell the other day. and Robert Maxwell did that to one of his key executives. He gave him I'll reveal this in an investigation we'll do it at another time. But one of his key executives went from being completely broke to being completely rich in a matter of a few months, and basically just handed over his companies to this guy. Nobody knows who he is. 2 months later, he turns out to be like the Chancellor of the Exchequer in the government. So, who knows how that happens, but it does happen if you're wealthy and you've got offshore holdings. You were going to talk to us, Eric, about this, an advance on a story that came out of Portland, because a few weeks ago, we were on the air and with, how could I forget his name? Because it's such a good one.
Bad Company, Carl.
Bad Company, with an I at the end. And we were speaking about Portland and about that shooting that happened in Portland. And, we all arrived at the conclusion that it was a Russian operation. It turns out it was a bit of a Russian operation, not even a bit. It seems like it was a Russian paid-for operation. And you've got an update on a couple of stories related to another incident, this time in Minneapolis.
The Minneapolis, so if you go all the way back to May of this year, which feels like a decade ago, but remember when they started all these, justice for George Floyd there, and there's all these protests, and boy, now we're worried about Antifa, and we got tear gas people in the Lafayette Park and all that, Bar Team 6 idiocy. Well, that started in Minneapolis, and well, it wasn't Antifa. There was a third indictment that came down on one of the Boogaloo Boys, alt-right terrorist squad. That they're the ones who kicked open, one of the guys they nailed is from Texas, who kicked open the door to the police department and shot his AK-47, I believe, replica in. And so he's been charged, and some of the conversations between him and his co-conspirators are really shocking, where they've got this over, no doubt, over on these encrypted apps. They're saying, hey, I did this to the police department. Well, I got you one better. And the guy had killed an agent with the Federal Protective Service. So, the goal of these guys was to start a civil war in the United States. And what is really so important about the story, in addition, is that we now know, because the whistleblower that came forward to House Intel and said, here's what's going on at Intelligence and Analysis, that's the one of the 17 agencies you've never heard of from the Department of Homeland Security, that their ex-head, who was chased out, he was told by Robert O'Brien and other people connected to Trump directly, basically, do not report on right-wing.
Of course, you're frozen at that inappropriate time.
Oh my God, it's not inappropriate. This is them. This is them. They've got Eric. They've got the feed on.
Eric, are you there? You froze up on us. Are you back there?
You froze up, Eric.
How will we do?
So
you're
do
back.
not
You're back.
report.
You're back.
Do not report is where we lost you.
We lost your do not report. Brian was telling somebody, do not report something.
On QAnon and on right-wing terror
I don't
groups.
think he can hear us.
He can't hear us.
He can't hear us. Okay.
Well.
So, pick it up. So, what Eric's getting to is that there's been a whole. He's texting to us. I lost all sound. Yeah. So, what he's talking about is that there's been this whole internal drive inside the administration, and for the Department of Justice or anyone reporting over to the administration about, and even our intelligence services, about domestic terrorism, and these domestic terror threats being from right-wing groups, to not give that information to the president, or to downplay it, or to somehow just bury that information. Don't let it out. It upsets the president. Everybody uses that excuse, but now we're starting to see. I just don't believe that he doesn't know this is going on.
He does know that it's going on. I think that the scary part is that they do know, in fact, what's going on. That they're probably funding what's going on, and that this is their backup plan. This is what they're going to try and do if they lose the election. And so and that's, do you guys read about Bill Barr has this finally resurfaced after disappearing for a couple of weeks, and was visiting all these local police stations around the country, and has quietly extended indefinitely this 45-day operation they had, which was designed to combat urban gangs, which put federal officials, federal police people in these cities, in places like Kansas City and Indianapolis. And he's extended this program indefinitely. So all these federal agents, which should not be in these little cities, are in urban areas, mind you, are now all positioned in there. And this is not being done by any major announcement or anything like that. In fact, where we've only got it is, I saw it in the Indianapolis Star, where it was just like a tiny paragraph in the bigger story about Bill Barr visiting town. And what worries me tremendously about that is obviously that, they're coordinating some sort of effort in the event of a Trump loss. And who knows what that could be. It's incredibly troubling, and it's not getting much coverage, even though I've tweeted it a couple of times. I hope people do pick up on it, because I don't trust Bill Barr as far as I can, as far as anything. It's just, you cannot trust that man.
You can't throw him very far.
Yeah, you could have just going to say that.
I was going to say, maybe when we send the lunar shuttle to the moon, you will be able to throw Bill Barr quite a long distance. But here on Earth,
you can't do it.
it's not going to happen.
Space. Oh, I keep freezing on the screen.
I know. I don't know what's going on today.
Faces. Sorry, everybody.
It may not appear to everybody when we finally release.
There's Eric.
Eric's back, I hope.
Can you hear us now?
Hello, Eric. Oh, you're back.
Hello, people.
Hello. Cliffhanger. At least they
Oh my God,
returned
Eric has been replaced by a Russian replicant.
Oh,
what are we going to do?
Let's cover people. I'm sorry.
You were telling us about Mr. O'Brien telling somebody else.
We kind of went on. We kind of went on with it, Eric.
It's okay. You gotta just go with it. Run with it. Punchline there was, this is the exact stuff that they were instructing their intelligence analysts do not cover this instead, which is one of the most grotesque violations possible. And they were told, cover for Russia's attack on our election, cover for them, do not report on them to Congress. Do not tell. I mean, and DHS has a very important role with protecting our, elections. So this is, do not tell governors, do not tell mayors of cities, do not, and don't tell them about right-wing terror when, they are planning to kill the governor of Michigan, when they are the ones shooting up, they're the ones threatening the police. And it turns out these guys are not just like, it's not like they're in on, it doesn't seem to read some of the about both the plot against Gretchen Whitmer and the Boogaloo Boys. They really do have it out against the police as well as everybody. They want total chaos. And they're killing, they're murdering law enforcement officers. And these guys were told, at DHS, they're telling the top people in their intelligence agency, don't report on that. Leave America susceptible to the people that want it to burn to the ground. That's how treasonous these people.
Yeah. And they were forced as well to promote and defend Rittenhouse, right? The guy from Kenosha who shot down, the 17-year-old who shot down 2, or was it 3? I think, but it was 2 for sure, protesters there. They were ordering the Department of Homeland Security to defend him publicly. I mean, why? Is he getting this treatment?
Because what they've wanted here, they know that we cannot have an election where Joe Biden takes power and you have some just horribly fearsome, new attorney general, like, I don't know, let's say Adam Schiff became AG or something like that. I mean, can you imagine with everything we know now and think of all the crimes we are talking about, and this, we got to go to Glenn Kushner on this one. He's like, Trump Crimes Commission. We are going to be excavating this for years and years. We're going to just like,
so the stakes are high.
They're committing felonies per second. I mean, these guys, and they know that if they ever get out of power now, because they had the mob ran in the room, mob ran into the White House, monkeys with sledgehammers, and they're like, let's take apart law enforcement, let's take apart the intelligence community, we're gonna woo. And well, they did a pretty good job, but they didn't do the whole job. They didn't, they tried to, they were throwing machinery out at the post offices. I mean, they're just like, no, literally smash everything you possibly can. So nobody else gets in power, and then we'll face federal charges for what we've done. And so these guys all know correctly, it's the only thing they're right about, that they're going to die in prison, man, if we have an election. So have everybody sick, to, make it contagious to go to the polls, stop people from being able to send mail, or, you can mail your thing in, but you need to have a notary public. I mean, they're doing everything they can to stop our democracy, because they know Joe and Kamala getting there, and we have a return to the rule of law. They're going to die in prison for what they've done. And it might, and they'll be lucky to get federal pen. They the way this is going, they're heading for The Hague. Some of these.
Yeah, I feel like it's more than a threat of, I feel like the motivation, there's other stuff happening in here with these folks. Some GOP rep today tweeted out this wild fantasy that
the
wife
wife
had a dream.
My wife had a dream, and they're becoming snake charming evangelical. Like they're getting into that realm.
They're speaking in tongues, yeah.
Speaking in tongues. They're just a step away from. They're like. La, 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 la,
she has the gift of premonition, LP. That's what he said. She has the gift of premonition.
Yeah.
She didn't want to say what she was really dreaming about, which was sex with a different person.
They're coming for me. I don't doubt that there's an insanity happening in that personal bedroom. I don't doubt it. something real diseased. I mean, this is like real disease, like
There's a lot
societal
of brainwashing
spiritual
going on.
disease.
You look at Amy
Yeah.
Coney Barrett and you think like, oh my God, she's completely out there. I mean, she's not even living in the same realm as the rest of us.
No.
And so she's just one person of many that are part of this indoctrination process that seems to be going on. It's a little terrifying, which is why we all need a big victory this November 3rd. And leads us to the tucking polls. Because they're not, they're good. Things are predictably tightening as they get closer to election day, as you'd expect them to. Some people say last night's debate may help Trump a little bit. None of that is particularly good news, but not unexpected. When you look at the breakdowns for the battleground states, Biden's still up 1.5 in Florida. That's impressive, although it is tightening a little bit. North Carolina, that looks like it's tightening as well a little bit, but it's not bad. It's pretty close. That's pretty good, 49 to 47. And the same thing for Pennsylvania, where they really are ahead by a lot. Pennsylvania's pretty good. That looks like it's in the bag.
Pennsylvania looks good.
Yeah. Ohio, not so much. Minnesota looks pretty good. I don't know if that's going to hold, but that's pretty good. Iowa, who knows? Georgia, Biden's still holding on to a lead there. Michigan, that's clearly going Biden's way. Texas, I don't believe this +4 because there was a poll yesterday that came out of Quinnipiac, which said that there was a 47-47 tie there. Now, Texas would be huge, 38 electoral votes that would change the picture.
That's it.
So we really need Texas, would really change everything and give you the decided victory everyone wants on election night. But it is all tightening. I mean, that's sort of the headline here. When you look at the spread between Biden and Trump now compared to Trump and Clinton in 2016, they're about the same. So it's not great news. It's maybe not what we all want to hear, but it also may not be reflective of what's really going on. But it just
mean
means,
11 days before?
Yeah.
Before or after the fucking Comey letter, though?
Good question.
Because that would be important, because it was 11 days before that he wrote that fucking letter.
I don't know. It would sort of been before that. Who knows? It could be right there. Yeah. I'll have to
I don't think there's going to be they're trying to get a Comey letter, but instead we get Rudy Giuliani unzipping his pants on a hotel bedroom, which kind of dulls the impact of the story of the laptop of Hunter Biden, the pedophile Romanian sex ring.
The laptop from hell. They did score a bit of a hit today with Blacking.
Don't forget there's a blind man in this story, everybody.
In the land of the blind, Don Crenshaw is king. That's true.
Well, so did you see where when they got deeper and deeper into that story and they said, well, he had child abuse media on there, on that laptop. And it's like, wait a minute. And how long? And you didn't report it?
Oh, I saw that.
Wait a minute. Did you send that laptop across state lines? Do you have a copy? Did you image the hard drive? Because all of those are federal felonies.
Yeah,
they are.
And they're like, all of a sudden they got real quiet. Like,
I feel like we've seen this story before. I mean, this is basically the Wiener playbook, right, from 2016. Very similar sort of playbook.
Which was Chuck Johnson, right?
Yeah, and Giuliani and the FBI guys in New York.
Giuliani and what launched the FBI stuff.
But it's like it's like the version of Psycho with Vince Vaughn this time, though.
Yes,
it's just not. It may be shot for shot, but it's not going to fucking work.
We've been through it once.
History there. Thank God you said that. I would treasure that little moment personally.
So,
I don't know what that means.
You can keep going. You're going to say something, Eric. I didn't want to interrupt. But if not,
I didn't want to interrupt the Vince Vaughn story. There's
speaking of other great moments in media and in film. I don't know if you saw it today. I did the research. I spent a couple of hours watching Borat's new movie.
No spoilers. I'm watching it at 9.
Can I show you the scene?
You can show this little clip, but
I'm going to show you the one scene, okay?
Yeah.
I have to show you the one scene because this is the scene. Rudy Giuliani encounters a 15-year-old. She clearly she's not 15, but that's what she claimed, and the wife of Sacha Baron Cohen. I think it's his actual real wife or girlfriend.
It's his daughter.
But in the movie, it's his daughter.
I know. I don't know if he didn't divorce his wife, did he? His wife is a famous actress.
Oh, so maybe it's his girlfriend. I don't know.
No, Isla Fisher is his wife, I believe.
Yeah.
But no, in movie film, in subsequent movie film,
Yes.
because he put out the video to troll these guys. Today is like they tried to misconstrue innocent sexy time with my 15-year-old daughter, and
The movie's very funny, actually. There's another moment in it with he walks into I think it was a conservative
No
meeting.
spoilers. No
Oh,
spoilers.
okay. I'm sorry. I won't do that. Watch the
It just
movie.
came out.
But now you can watch the scene.
Okay.
Here we go.
I'm so sorry. That's horrible.
Sit. Okay.
I'm so sorry for that. Really, apologize.
Apology accepted. No problem.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you again for giving me this time. Shall we have a drink in the bedroom?
What happened? There you go, my dear.
Okay.
There you go. Be good. You can give me your phone number and your address.
Should we slip your jacket?
Okay.
Put down your crumb.
Who?
She's 15. She's too old for you.
Why are you dressed like
She's
this?
my daughter. Please, take me instead. Take my anus.
I don't want you.
No, take my anus. Do not have her.
I'm better than him.
No, I better. My back pussy very tight.
No, please, my front
Please,
anus.
I will let you enjoy my crumb in your mouth. No, I better.
I would love to
I
marry
was
you.
in prison many years, so I have techniques with my mouth.
What's going on here? Look at this guy.
I forbid this union. Rudy, Trump will be disappointed. You are leaving hotel without golden shower.
I'm so sorry. That's
Relax,
horrible.
sit down.
And it was obviously rerunning there. Oh, wow.
We're leaving hotel without
The golden shower. Yeah, you got that, eh? It was well done. It was well done. Sorry about the dirty words there. It's not normally our thing here, but there you go.
it's a family
Yeah.
show.
It's a family show. Ish.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, I don't know what he was doing in his pants there, but he was definitely, whatever he was
in
doing,
his
he was
pants.
tucking. He was tucking.
No,
But she was holding
he was
the microphone just beforehand. So there is something that she may have, I don't know why he'd be needing to lie down and grab inside there, but he was at the time removing his microphone, I guess. So whatever that's
Listen.
worth.
This guy got played by Borat. We begin and we end there.
Right. Yeah.
And he's out there saying, no, I know how to deal with Russian intelligence. They weren't playing me. You got played by Borat in the sequel.
Mm.
In the sequel. It's not like we don't know who Borat is. He's already done this shtick
Yep.
before, and you still got fucking played by this guy. So
Sure
that's
did.
number one. That's the most innocent explanation for what we just saw there. Sacha Baron Cohen just did do an interview at LA Times, I think it was today, where they published it today, where he said, no, I actually was really worried for her because he could see that Giuliani was going down in his pants, and he was like, oh, okay, I got to get in there.
Yeah, he
And
really
went
did
in
seem to
there.
interrupt it. Like it was a real
He
interruption.
interrupted it. That was a real interruption.
Yeah.
So they know what they were looking at. They knew what was going down there. He's saying, "I give you my number. Here's my number."
And he does this
After
pat
the
on her
mics are
back.
off,
Yeah.
and he's patting her, and he says, and he's being the paternal sort
And
of
here's the
little-
tucking.
little girl, right? And I'm on the bed. I got my hand down here. Let me go for it. So
Yeah.
again, we can be innocent about it. And we
I'm not
can
going to
say,
be innocent.
okay,
No.
Rudy got played. Rudy got played by Borat.
He did, and it's embarrassing, and yet you
Borat.
don't hear a thing about it. The so-called,
No.
virtuous
All you
right, the
get is-
conservative right. Eric was so
Eric-
disgusted he had to
Eric-
I was
leave.
just going to say, Eric just said that he had to leave.
Oh,
And
okay,
we-
bye,
We
Eric.
didn't get to say a proper
Yeah.
goodbye.
All right.
We didn't get
Aw,
to say proper goodbye. Oh,
We're
I can't
here.
read that, guys. I'm sorry.
We're
I'm getting
here.
quiet.
hi.
Oh, well,
There's
back
3
to
boxes.
us.
There's 3 little bottles left on the wall. What else were we going to talk about today? I don't know if there was
The
anything
media.
else.
I want to talk about the media, man.
Yeah, you were going to rant about the
Oh,
media.
do it, Greg.
Rant away.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
and I just, Zev, you were kind enough to have us on last night after the debate, and
That was great.
Just thinking about it now, 24 or almost 24 hours later, whatever it is, what's the microcosm of the whole 4-year period is the debate. The moderator, and who I thought was the best of the three.
Yeah, she's great.
Right?
I took a hit at her last night, but yes,
she was. I'm going to take a hit at her now, but I want to say flat out, she was the best one that we've had in terms of trying to get them to end. But still, Trump went on TV, broadcasted God knows how many homes, and just fucking lie after lie after lie. And I get politicians say things, they stretch the truth, they exaggerate. But what he did is not that. What he did is just fucking lies. And it's been 4 goddamn years of this shit. You're a professional journalist, and they act like he's just another candidate. He's not another candidate. He's a fucking criminal, and he's a liar. And his lies have now cost 220,000 American lives and counting. So the thing to do when he starts lying is to fucking call him on it. Just say, no, that's not true. What you said about the laptop and Hunter Biden is not true. When Joe Biden says that's not true, Joe Biden is right. It's not fucking true. When he does the thing with the pre-existing conditions, no, it's not true. You have no plan. You said 4 years ago that you were going to release the plan in a little while. That was 4 fucking years ago. And I'm not a scientist and I'm not a politician, but the time to release the fancy new healthcare plan, if it wasn't right before the pandemic, it was during it. Why are we waiting? What's the fucking holdup? You know, they keep giving him the benefit of the doubt, and it is not deserved. And he knows it, and they know it, and they keep taking advantage of it. And these people are too goddamn smart, and it pisses me off. Do your fucking job, journalists, or stop.
Is it the job? Is it their job? Is it the moderator's job?
Off, Wolf Blitzer.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's their job. There's one person there. Their job is to say, I'm not talking about if somebody says, oh, no, it's 230,000 people. If they exaggerate this or that, or they get some deep, that's one thing. But if you're saying something that's just completely fucking apeshit crazy, like his pre-existing conditions thing, or the COVID thing, the lies that he told during the COVID response, you know, when he said, well, you know, there's the flu and Joe Biden didn't want us to do the China thing, you got to make that fucking clear. Because what we saw last night was both sidesism at its worst. And anybody that watched that debate that hasn't been paying attention walked away assuming that Trump was telling the truth because he sounds like he's telling the truth. And the fucking moderator didn't say that he was lying. That's it.
Yeah.
And neither did Joe Biden, though.
Can't just say, you're lying, because Trump can say, well, you're going to say that. The goddamn fourth estate, that's their fucking job. It's their goddamn job. And
I agree that. I agree with it.
It's just dead. Why even have it? Just have them by themselves in a fucking UFC pit. Why even have a journalist there? There's no fucking point.
Well,
can we separate the moderator and the journalist? Because, you know, the moderator is there to moderate. And that's a different job than the journalist at all.
Because in this sense, though, in this particular sense, it's not. Even in the Mike Pence debate, fine. Okay? But Mike Pence didn't lie as much as Trump did. He stretched the truth. He did rhetorical things that were clever, but he didn't lie. He was a politician. Trump just lied.
So did Biden at one time. But I will say this.
One time.
But here's
call him out too.
There's as you know, when you're sitting in one of those network control rooms in debates, as I've done before, there's a lot going on. You know, there's a lot of pressure just to get the timing right, the shots right. You are fact checking things along the way, but you're not. You know, there's only a limited amount of resources and especially her sitting in the front there. There's too much pressure to expect her to know every little fact and to be able to accurately push back on every little fact. When they do those fact checks, there are teams of people.
I'm talking about the big ones.
Yeah.
The big ones. There were whoppers of lies.
There were whoppers. And here's where, Zev, here's where the rubber meets the road. She prepared those questions. She knew what she was going to ask.
Yeah.
She knew, and there is no mystery to Donald's propaganda. There are entire websites you can go to, not just watching his past interviews and knowing what his positions are in certain things, which is the moderator's job to prepare for it. And no, I'm going to ask these questions. This is what I expect him to answer because we're trying to get information out for us. This is about doing a service for us.
Now, that can be done
And
afterwards.
in that, it can't be done afterwards
Afterwards,
with a
it's too
liar
late.
like
It's
this.
too
It's
late
too late.
afterwards.
And they
He
know
needs
that
to be
after 4
fucking
years, they know
humiliated.
that. After 4 years, they know that. And whether it's about humiliating or not, it's about you cannot let this thing happen. The way propaganda works is I'm just going to say it. If you're Trump, I'm just going to say it. And then I'm frozen. And then leave it to all of the aftermath to try to clean it up or parse it or do whatever. Or maybe they will pick it up. Maybe they won't. Too late. We know this. We know he's a trained propagandist. I keep saying that. It's not sinking into people's heads when I say this. He is trained in this. He is. And there are entire sites of his shit, of this bubble of craziness, this alternate reality. Any journalist can find it. They should know where you can go to
The kids in
Daily
the
Caller.
cages. This is the thing. I've actually blacked it out. He just kept going back to who built the cages.
That's right.
Nobody fucking cares. Who cares who designed the room? You're the one that separated the parents and the kids of refugee people coming into the country. You did it deliberately. Your attorney general did it. Your deputy attorney general did it. And you're parsing words and trying to blame it on Biden. That's the sort of thing that needs to be like, no, you
Biden did
this.
say that wasn't true. He did say that.
Yes, fine. That's whatever. But I'm saying an objective person watching it doesn't know. Right. There's the old saw about what the job of the journalist is. If Biden says it's raining and Trump says, no, it's not raining, the journalist is not supposed to say, Trump said it's raining and Biden said it's not. The journalist is supposed to look out the window and tell me if it's fucking wet. That's their job, including if they're moderating the debate. Otherwise, why have a journalist moderate the debate? Why not have Tom Hanks moderate the debate? Right. Or Ken Bone moderate that? Why doesn't Frank Lutz's fucking focus group moderate the debate? You know?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't think, journalists are not, they report on stories. They don't necessarily moderate things. I mean, that's not what that's not their job.
Historically, they moderate the debates, and those are plum jobs. Those are prestigious jobs.
Oh yeah.
Those jobs should be given. There's 3. Plus the VP. There's 4. This year there were only 3. But
2.
Those are prestigious jobs. We can't find 3 people in the entire fucking industry that can do this. Please, you could do it, Zev.
I don't think so. I think it's really complicated. I think you've got to,
you could do it. I think you would do a good job.
There's a lot of information.
I don't even do this for a living. I could do a better job than
that New Zealand broadcast woman, whoever she is, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was amazing. There are. If you're gonna, the point being, the reason why is a journalist there as the moderator? They're there as a moderator because the premise is what we've always believed is that these are the folks that we're not all saturated in the news every day, right? But these are the folks who are actually, it is their job. It is their business. I'm so sorry about my face.
I don't know why it just keeps doing it. I keep switching cameras, hoping.
I know. So these are the folks who will know. They'll be able to know in the moment how to field where a candidate is going, where they might be lying, where they might be misleading, or maybe also knowing what questions to ask to actually lead to the real information that is going to make a difference in people's lives so they can make an informed choice. And who built the cage? Who built the cage? Who built the cage? Is not it.
Fuck you.
It's not
Have we not just accepted the fact that he lies so much, and sort of, is there not a percentage of the American population which now just accepts that he's a liar? He will lie. They anticipate lies. They know he's going to lie. They're okay with the lying.
I don't think they're okay with the chaos. I will say this. The thing that was so dangerous about this last debate to me, and I said this last night, is that he gave the Republican Party this sort of, he has his own version of stable ground, right? Mm-hmm. It's all based on lies. It's all that stuff. But it's like, okay, I'm going to prove to you that I'm not an out of control monkey throwing feces. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just going to stand and I can See, I can prove that I actually have some ability to control myself on some level. And that's all they need to go, oh, see, it's okay. It's okay. He's not shaking the ground underneath me anymore.
Yeah.
And so he stopped shaking my ground, right? He's still this horrible monstrosity, but I feel like I can be lulled back into sleep. You know, I did my fireside chat this morning because I woke up
It's
thinking
good.
about, I woke up, thank you. I woke up thinking about those kids and, you know, and I kind of ended it with, I just can't get that guy out of my memory. Do you remember the guy in the diner or the restaurant that was like, said, you know, we hate the tweets, we hate this, but it said to the journalist, just stop talking to us about the kids, the children, stop bringing the children up to us. And because it was uncomfortable for him.
Yeah.
That was a truth that was shaking the ground underneath him. You can't listen to those children crying. You can't contemplate what it means to have a child, to rip a child away from their parents, what that does to that child, that innocent child, and call yourself a Christian and call yourself an American. So it was creating so much cognitive dissonance for that man. And there's so many like him, you know, so many Trump supporters like that they're not in the crazy MAGA cult. They just don't talk to me about the children. I don't want to, just stop talking to me about that. Right. Because they know how wrong it is. They know it's evil. And just acknowledging
Evil.
it
Yeah.
shakes the ground underneath them too. It shakes their ground. They don't want their ground shaken. They want to be comfortable. They don't want Donald making them uncomfortable. They don't want facts making them uncomfortable. They don't want the truth making them uncomfortable. They don't want the pain and suffering that's going on making them uncomfortable. And, you know, I don't give a fuck. I'm here to make you fucking uncomfortable. Why do you get to call? Why does that guy in that fucking diner, just because he's some in his 60s white Christian man, he gets to say what we can and cannot talk about? You know, just don't stop talking to me about that, he says. He gets, why? Why do you get to make that call, motherfucker?
And that fallacy that they live under, you know, they think that Donald Trump is somehow representing them. And he has no real interest in white, rural or urban Americans. His interest is purely in the money and the people who are funding him. And the people who are funding him are basically the Koch brothers, which I found out this week. Also, their family funded Stalin and Hitler. And now Trump.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a trifecta. I mean, that's an insane trifecta. You've got, you know, the DeVos family, which is basically a religious far-right extremist family pushing extremist ideologies that make no sense to anybody in the modern world unless you want to seize back the country. You've got the Russians who are paying him money, or the Chinese who are paying him money, however you want it. You know, that's the money. So they don't care what happens here. They prefer chaos. They prefer that there's ultimate chaos. And somehow he's got the white people of America believing that he represents them. And he has no interest in them. None. There's nothing he's done at all to show you in the last 4 years that he has an interest in their well-being, in their health, in their children's health, in their education, in their jobs. There's no proof at all that he's done anything for this group of people. And yet somehow they're still voting for him. And how do you break that? I have no idea, because it's astonishing. Just because he goes and visits you.
You play those tapes of those children crying.
Yeah, you play those tapes.
Yeah.
And you go in their face and you try and remind them all the time that there is a lot going on around them that they do actually disapprove of and that they can't hide from.
And if you're a journalist moderating a debate, you maybe, you know,
Maybe
say what's actually happening and confirm, yes, this is true. Yes, this is not true. Yes, it was the Donald Trump administration with Sessions and Rosenstein who created this policy written by Stephen Miller that by ripping parents apart from children, we will deter people from trying to come to the country. Hey, it worked. Great job, guys. Now nobody wants to fucking come here. And nobody can anyway because of the goddamn COVID. But at what cost? Our soul. I mean, this is on Trump, period. He put people in charge and signed off on this. The top people in his administration signed off on this, and that's it. And he can parse the words all he wants, but that journalist had the ability last night to actually make a difference and didn't. So she can take that to her fucking grave.
People have said in other administrations like this, when you think about Hitler, people said they didn't know. And there'll be people who come out of this Trump era and they'll say they didn't know as well.
Yeah.
Even though we can keep yelling it and shouting it from the mountaintops, which we need to keep doing, but you really can't. That's not an excuse that's legitimate right now, because I think it's out there.
The other thing that didn't happen in the Hitler era that these folks are they're going to wear it is they're all on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we're going on camera. We're taking this risk, right? We're putting our faces and our voices out there. But so did they. And you're not going to be able to hide. It's not going away. Your tweets aren't going away. Your fucking Instagrams aren't going away. Your stupid little AOK troll stuff with Julian Assange, not going away.
And demographics are not going away. I mean, at the end of the day, their numbers keep shrinking. And that's not going to change. So,
it's like the modern era version of the end of Inglourious Bastards, right? Where they catch him and they just carve the swastika into his forehead. That's what this stuff is like. It's going to follow them around forever.
Mark of the beast.
And that's it. And it follows everybody around forever. It's not just the evildoers. It's really the ones who enable it. And the journalists have enabled it. Everybody on these networks who have reported on this for the most part have failed. And it's just the way that it is. And it's
the media
so
has
frustrating.
failed. The mainstream media has without a doubt failed to tell the story, and they still fail every day. And I know they try, and I see how they
break the stories. They tell us what's happening, and then they fail to make the connections, and they let him off. They can't wrap their mind around the fact that he isn't just a regular Republican person, and he's not. They can't fathom it for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Well, I think there are also people in those organizations that sort of force down that kind of thinking. There's and whether they're owned by foreign entities, it wouldn't surprise me if they were. It wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, we should go. Wow, it's been a nice Friday night with you guys. I've missed the whole team, so it's nice to see everyone together.
I'm so happy to be back with everybody, even though we lost Eric early.
It's nice.
And just so everybody knows, it's just like we're still here.
Yeah,
really
this actually felt very comfortable.
It's just like schedules and stuff is really going on. So I want to be with everyone again.
When you're back, you're back. So let me say goodnight. Next week, I've got a really big story I'm trying to develop, and hopefully next week about the Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys and about where they're getting their money. So hopefully we can get to that next week. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks.